Hello and welcome to the Political Arena. My name is Morno Balagbobo, and today on the program we will be talking about youth participation in the upcoming general elections. And with us today to touch light on this topic is the Special Advisor on Youth and Student Affairs, Honorable Ahmadu Jibril Oludare. Good to have you on the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, I can see that your hearts, you're fully geared up, and the general elections are fast approaching. As a young politician yourself, the first question I'd like to ask you is, are you excited about, the youth enthusiasm for this general elections? Because it's something I would say most Nigerians have longed for, because general elections in the past, it's more as if the youths are not interested. But right now, with the way things are gearing up, what's your outlook generally on youth's interest in this particular election?
Okay, well, thank you very much, and good morning to the viewers out there. It's a privilege to be hosted in this very wonderful program.
Glad to have you.
Thank you. Well, as you said properly or earlier, that the youths are enthusiastic about this election. Yes, we are happy because election marks an era where you stand to write history. Election marks an era where you have the opportunity to decide who decides every fate of your life for the next 4 years. In the past, the youth used to be errand boys, political hallelujah boys, where people just send them to execute dubious acts on election day. But the political awareness we're having now, the youth involvement, in fact, in Kogi specifically, we've outgrown youth involvement and engagement in politics to youth ownership. So the enthusiasm is top-notch because the youths own this election, the youths own the candidates, and you see Kogi has the youngest spread of candidates across its House of Assembly, House of Representatives, Senate, and as the case may be. So of course, our morale is high. We're going to use the layman language. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Now, just to look at some of the key issues, what do you think are on the minds of youths? What are youths interested in when it comes to the candidates, whether the presidential candidates, gubernatorial, of course, the general elections is all across the state. What do you think are the key issues of youths? What do you think they are interested in this particular election?
Okay, I think based on the age demography that defines us as young people, the first thing that always comes to our mind is job creation, stroke employment, and then of course security by extension. And what we've tried to do is, especially we in the progressives, we took our time to array across our candidates and see which of these candidates has what it takes to protect or guarantee the future of the Nigerian youth. Our population is rising on a daily basis, and the population of, or the percentage of young people in this population, it's crossing over 65, approaching 70% now. That means our major goal now in any candidate is who can create jobs, who has what it takes to diversify our economy, who has what it takes to make Nigeria a safer place for us to do business, for us to travel from one place to the other, for us to be able to go to farm and cultivate our lands. So this is one major areas that the youths are looking up to. And of course, as a progressive, we have absolute confidence in the candidate our party is presenting, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He has a record that can speak for him of his performance in Lagos. He has a record that can attest about how well he has expanded the economy of Lagos, that has reflected in the IGR, that has reflected in the government infrastructure, that has reflected in the healthcare, that has reflected in the various agencies and branches of government that is ensuring that Lagos works today. So if we have someone who has that, it's only natural that the youths of Nigeria want to organize and support him wholeheartedly to see that such is replicated on the larger scale. For Kogi, in emphasis, we have a dormant industrial asset, the Ajakuta steel, which Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu has indicated in interest severally that is going to make it work, because that will mark the industrial revolution of Nigeria. So Kogi specifically have an extra attachment to the candidature of Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And to crown it all again, His Excellency Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu has thought it wise to bring the right man, the round hole, the round peg for the round hole, to come and lead his campaign in the youth demographic, which is the governor of Kogi State, Alhaji Ayadoza, being the youngest governor who has lived up to expectation of being young, and most importantly, has consistently over time availed himself as a political pivot for the affairs of youths in the nation. And he has made us proud.
All right. What do you say to the critics of your presidential aspirant and candidate, Ahmed Bola Tinubu? Because, I mean, we're talking about your party, APC, that has been in power for the past 8 years. And they're like, okay, you've been here 8 years. Why should Nigerians trust this same party? I'm not speaking about the person of Ahmed Bola Tinubu, but I'm just looking at the party. Like, what do you say to those critics who are like not with your party? So how do you react to that?
Well, I am a progressive, so my approach of response to critics is from the progressive point of view. If you criticize why should you be with my party, I'll ask you to go and check the Abuja to Kano double gauge federal highway. If you're from the southeast, I'll ask you to go and check the second Niger bridge. If you're from the agricultural sector, I'll tell you to go and check the indices of Nigeria, how much we spend on forex for importation of rice prior to now, and what we do now. If you're criticizing my government, I'll tell you in the house you live, what was the state of electricity 8 years ago, and how well do you enjoy electricity now? If you ask me what does this government do, I'll continue to give you a long list of that. The reforms in security, in education, in agriculture, in commerce, in trade, in road infrastructure, hospital, they're countless. So if you ask me why should you remain with our party, I would ask you that would you rather prefer to go back to the evil land where you're coming from, or you want to proceed to the promised land where God has promised you to be? Let's take it or leave it. APC is the Noah's Ark God has sent to us. You either join the ark or you get sick.
All right, now let's look at youths in general now. The impact of politics on the Nigerian youths, of course, is not always positive. I mean, you mentioned corruption and, godfatherism and all sort of menace, that the youths have suffered in this nation due to the impact of politics. Now, about all of these issues, what do you think is the way forward? Like, number one, corruption, malpractice. We'll talk about ethical misconduct. These are some of the issues, that are linked to the political process when it has to do with youths. What's the way forward, and how do we change this narrative at a national level?
Well, this is something that has to be looked holistically, but the approach has to be strategic, one at a time. There is no one man who will wake up one day and say, I want to solve the whole problems of Nigeria today, especially when it has to do with ethics and moral conduct. It's a factor of who we are, how we think, how we process issues. And I strongly believe that if the organs of government function well, we will get to where we need to be. There's a presidential candidate who believes in only privatizing the assets of government anywhere he sees them. And there's the other presidential candidates who believe in making the organs of government work, which is our candidate, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So if we have every organs of government functioning well as it should be, it also entails the normal anti-graft agencies. It also entails, I know then when Sevicom was created newly, every civil servant was scared because he knows that when he do wrong, he will call Sevicom. Where is Sevicom today? These are part of the things that we are very hopeful that Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu will rejuvenate. He will rejuvenate the war against corruption, financial theft, money laundering, what have you. Let's have a special court, let's have a special laws that are guiding from initiation of a case to termination, not the conventional ways of people buying time from one court to the other, one motion juxtaposing another and what have you. We believe, that's why I always refer people back to his track record. Anybody who knows Lagos State knows that that is the hub of legal instrument in the country. We have a lot we can achieve in war against insecurity, in war against corruption. It's not like now that it's been so politicized, or I don't want to use the word balkanized. In the PDP era, we used to have instances where when you're seen as a political enemy, they'll send the FCC to you. when you're seen not to be dancing to the tune of the powers that be, they send the FCC to you. And you still see on the same record, you see where a snake will swallow billions, a monkey will swallow billions, and there's no record. There's no evidence of what EFCC has done on those people. And then you just see one poor man, or you go to EFCC cell, you go and see Yahoo boys will fool the whole place, and they'll say that they have 10,000 cases convicted. No, we need to overhaul the system. And for you to be able to do that, you need a blend of law and law enforcement agencies.
Okay, now you've said so much about your candidate. Now there are still some people, because you talked about an inclusive government and structures, all of that. I want you to personally react to number one, the Muslim ticket, and because when you mention inclusiveness, for some people that they might not like the idea, but I know it's all about capability. It shouldn't really be about sentiments. But we know Nigeria, I mean, it's a very big country with different people, with different backgrounds and ideology. Secondly, there is the issue of the health of your candidate. I know you're someone who is close to him. You probably know him one-on-one. I'd like you to, make more stress on that. And then his cognitive. Just recently, someone was making an accusation about his cognitive and all of that. What do you see to counter some of all these, arguments that have been put forward against your leading man?
Okay, you see, the way politicians, although we are them, so the way they think in times of election is at times funny. In the first place, who told you religion defines our unity as a nation? The color of our skin is what defines us as Africans. Our attachment to our culture and heritage is what specifically unique defines us as Nigerians. So if you come from the angle of religion to want to say that maybe there is no sign of inclusiveness or not, a man who is a Muslim and his wife is a ranking member in the church is not already a sign of inclusiveness? Or was it not the same Nigerian that voted for MQ Abiola and Baba Gana Kinkibe, or his deputy then? Muslim. The whole Nigerian came, June 12. And this same government is celebrating it. The whole Nigerians are celebrating it. It was still the same Nigeria where we used to have a Hausa man as a councillor in Enugu. We used to have an Enugu and an Igbo man as a chairman or a top government official in Kano. This is the Nigeria we want to reborn. This is a Nigeria where, as a Nigerian, you feel free to walk into every part of Nigeria without fear of being judged by where you come from. So long as you're Nigerian, that is going to be our new tribe. So long as you're black, that is going to be our new identity. So long as you can identify yourself with the river Niger that unites us or amalgamated us as a nation, that is what defines us. The question we will ask is Tinubu not a Nigerian? Has he paid the price to make him say he wants to be president? Do he have what it takes to be president? Not like some baby boy or Yahoo politicians who just come on board and want to use sentiments to just have a cheap entrance into our political landscape. No.
So what about the health?
That, we're mature than that. His health is as sound as that of a newborn baby. And I'll ask you why. I'm a Muslim, and where I come from, I know it is God that gives health to whom He wants and when He wants. Is Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum. He takes life and He gives life. We were in this same Nigeria about 8 years ago when people were saying Buhari would die the following week. Buhari is healthier than most of the people. In fact, those who thought that he would die have died and left him there now. A good president who knows how to function, knows that you don't need the president of Nigeria to be jumping from one pole to the other. Is to sit in his office and coordinate things, is to monitor things, go on presidential visits where need be. It's never the job of the president to stand by the roadside and coordinate traffic. It's never the job of the president to carry AK and go to the bush. But you need somebody with the good mindset of what Nigeria has been a part of Nigerian history from inception and has fought for our democracy in different forums and platforms. He has a good wealth of experience in governance and leadership. He has what it takes and he has a good foresight of what he wants Nigeria to be. Not anybody who is just coming on the basis of sentiment, not somebody whose campaign has been, at times I laugh so much when I look at some of these presidential candidates and I said, God, who have we offended in Nigeria? Because there is a certain character a person should attain before he even aspires to be a president of Nigeria.
Are you saying that's to the detriment of other candidates?
Not because, in detriment. I'm defining their person. I will call names if you want me to.
Please go ahead and call
Yes.
names.
Okay, if you want me to call names, Peter Obi, for God's sake, was a governor in Anambra. How far has he gone? The majority of people from the southeast are agitating that they don't want to be in Nigeria and they are using IPOB to agitate. And those same IPOB at night will be Labour Party in the daytime and they agitate that they want to rule Nigeria. So it's
you were making reference to their credibility.
Yes.
In terms of public service.
Yes.
Now, Peter Obi, you mentioned that served as a former governor. Is that not an addition to his repertoire?
No. It is a plus for him, so maybe you can place Peter Obi ahead of the likes of Atiku when you're looking at executive prowess in forms of leadership. But if you want to talk of administrative prowess, go back to the history of Anambra, go back to the history of Lagos, go back to Anambra today, go back to Lagos today, who has consistently guided the process of leadership, because government is about continuity. Go and check it compared to Anambra. Go and check today, what is the IGR of Lagos from what it was to what it is now. Go and check the IGR of Anambra from what it was to what it is now. Go and check the infrastructures that were done during the time of Peter Obi. In fact, I see it as a political insult if you qualify or grade the likes of Tinubu and Peter Obi. In my tribe, they used to say nose, road, head, forehead is far from nose. So
now, I know we don't have a lot of time on our side, but now, do you think that it should just be based on that now? Because we're talking about someone who wants to be, someone who wants context to be the leader of the country. We're looking at, being able to put forward what they want to do. You understand, for the people. And there have been some people who were critical, of Tinubu in some of the press briefings and all of that. How do you react to that?
Just as I said, there are various indices of measuring who should be a president.
Okay.
Number one, what is ability to unify Nigeria as a nation? Is spread. Nigeria is so blessed and we have so many. I pray and bless our legal luminaries and members of the National Assembly who have over time created and worked on our constitution. The clause that you must have 1/4, that's 25% vote into third of its purpose. It was meant to send a message that for you to become a president of Nigeria, you need to enjoy a spread, a relative acceptability of the people of Nigeria. Tinubu today has the spread. He's loved in the north, he's adored in the south, he's cherished in the southeast, he's being immortalized in the north central. So tell me, if you're going from the area of unity, Tinubu is the right man to unite Nigeria. If you're going from the area of infrastructure, Tinubu has the track record of making Nigeria or things work. If you're going from the side of security, I was so impressed when I heard him say in Ogun in a recent rally, he said his first priority in security is one, more sophisticated gadgets and massive recruitment of more manpowers in our Nigerian army, military, air force, paramilitary, police, civil defense, customs, the case may be. Because our man to security ratio is very high in Nigeria. We need to close the gap. We need more personnel to be able to protect us so that we can sleep with our two eyes closed.
All right, thank you very much. We'll go on a short break. You're still watching Political Arena on Malachite TV. We'll be right back. "2023 holds a lot for Nigerians and the world at large. This February, the general elections will be happening live. Nigerians will be deciding new set of leaders. What are on their minds? What are the candidates up to in securing your votes? Will this election mark a new high for free and fair elections? All these and more are all up for discussion at the Political Arena. So, watch out. All right, welcome back from the break. You're still watching Political Arena on Malachite TV. I've been speaking with Honorable Ahmadu Jibril Oludare, who is the Special Advisor on Youth and Student Affairs to the Kogi State Government. It's been good having this conversation with you. In the first part of our interview, we've dwelt so much on national issues. Right now, I want us to come back home. I must say congratulations, 7 years in office, His Excellency Yaya Doza Bello. What can you say about the journey so far in terms of His Excellency's works and projects in making Kogi State a better place for all citizens of the state?
Okay, thank you. First, I want to congratulate the entirety of Kogi people for 7 years of purposeful, impactful, project-oriented, and youth-owned leadership for 7 years and still counting by the grace of God. It's been a wonderful experience. You cannot know how beautiful it is until you witness what Kogi used to be before now. So yes, we're celebrating our 7 years in office for Governor Bello and the new direction team that is working with him to ensure that people of Kogi get the best and good governance and dividends of governance. Project has been wonderful. So many projects here and there. If you want me to start listing them to you, I'm going to make you so tired. But I'll just take 3 catchment areas and I just want you to digest. We have Operation Light Up Kogi East. Governor Bello has given over 200 communities electricity. He has connected them to the main grid. That is number 1. Number 2, road infrastructures. His Excellency has contracted to Imani Ogugu Road, the one in Aingba Road, the road in Kaba, the one in Kini Central Road. The roads are just too enormous for me to start counting. The roads inside Lokoja, there is no way you go inside the heart of Lokoja and you don't see a newly tarred road. In fact, as I speak to you now, work is still ongoing in other areas of Kogi State. From Zone 8 to Assembly Quarters, which is ongoing. And we're still doing more. Do you want me to talk about healthcare? Kogi is now the new headquarter of health infrastructure and medical tourism. We have in Kini, we have in Isonu, we have in Gebubeki, we have in Ayamba, and we have a lot more like that. Please tell me, why wouldn't we say we are having a new era of new governance? My brother, I want to talk about security. Let the people in the street of Kogi State attest to that. How well they sleep with their 2 eyes closed. Thank you.
All right, you are Special Advisor on Youth and Students Affairs. How have you been able to advise the governor politically and support mandates that's geared towards, the advancements of youths and students in general in the state? What will you say has been your key achievements in this particular area?
Just as a little addition to that, I'm also the State Director of Youth Mobilization for APC Presidential Campaign Council in Kogi State. And as my job description entails advice, it means my job is not to execute, neither is it my job to advise publicly. My advice to the governor is meant for his ears and his ears alone. But a wise man sees that when a witch cries in the night and a baby dies in the morning, you don't need to be told who killed the baby. When you have a team of meaningful people around the governor, not just myself alone, and you can see it reflect in the performance and the dividends of governance, in delivering the dividends of governance to the people. You'll see it there. Today, I am proud to see that in the history of Kogi State, there has been no ticket that has taken into cognizance the youth like this time. Today, I'm proud to see that Governor Yabelo's government is occupied by 75% of people below the age of 40. Running the affairs of Kogi State. Today, I am proud to say that the youth constituency specifically is well represented. You have former youth leaders being assigned duties and roles by government. You have current youth leaders being encouraged, subventions to all youth and students groups in Kogi State, carrying them along in all political activities, creating an avenue for them to thrive, creating job opportunities, like the recent teachers recruitment that was done in the state. I announced, the Commissioner of Education announced very soon the letters will be collected. 95% are young people. We don't employ old people in Kogi because we believe the mind of the younger people are sound and sharp. I can't continue to count more. Is it in Entrepreneurship Center in Kogi Poly. We have the Kogi State Youth Development Commission, the first of its kind in this government, just to help see how we can promote the young people in Nigeria. We have the Ministry of Sport. Kogi female team just got a medal in the last female football competition going on. So in the area of sport, Kogi is represented. In the area of leadership, Kogi is represented. In the area of infrastructure, Kogi is represented. In fact, in Kogi State, do you know that our contracts are given to local contractors and young? Go and see Alaji Friday in Dachala. Don't mind his body size. He's a young man. And we have so many people like that cut across every nook and crannies of Kogi, executing our contracts, executing our jobs, educating our people, protecting our lives. The Kogi State Vigilante and the social police we have in Kogi State have domiciled by the youth. Kogi indigenes who knows the nook and crannies of Kogi State, protecting Kogi State and the people of Kogi State. This is how much the youths are involved. I tell you, Kogi has gone beyond youth involvement in politics, or some states we say youth engagement. In Kogi, we call it youth ownership. We own it in Kogi, and we are showing it. I always say for those who feel we are too young, those who laid the bedrock or foundation of Nigerians were young people. And that is what we're enjoying up to date. Kogi is redefining history. Kogi is redefining what it should be and what we should expect. Kogi is giving leadership a new face of leadership. And we're thankful for the God-sent youth commander, the national youth coordinator of the Tinubu Shetima, the executive governor of Kogi State, the youngest governor and the wonder-performing man. I always say, what more could we ask from God, if not Yaya Bello? Our prayers to God Almighty is, as we're 7 years gone, and now approaching the final lap of the race, we pray that God gives us the blessings and the grace, the mercy and the consideration of giving us a kind-hearted, young, youth-dedicated and project-oriented governor to succeed Governor Yaya Bello. I know God can do it because I know that we have laid the template and others will follow.
Amen. All right, just to take you from there, now as of course this lap is, about rounding up, there's been talks about who will run as gubernatorial candidate of Kogi State under APC. Can you give us an exclusive? Do you have any hint for us? Do you know who will or may? You can mention names of who may take up the mantle.
I would want to just give an idea.
Okay.
You see, in Kogi State, the person who will come after Governor Yaya Bello will be progressive, will be an APC man. Because in Kogi, we have quashed and we have normalized, we have neutralized any opposition. We are APC 100%. And I can assure you that the person who will come after Governor Yaya Bello will be APC and will come on the template of the party as progressives to bring dividends of good governance to the people. I may not be in the capacity to start mentioning names because officially they've not even started selling forms, or as the case may be. I'd have just gone and run through the information of those that have bought their forms to be able to give you a rundown of what it should be. But it's Kogi State, every indigenous citizen of Kogi is entitled to go or aspire for the number one position. Our prayer is always be may the best man win, and may God give us he who will take us to the promised land.
Amen. So now let's get personal with you now. Are you planning to run for any political position anytime soon?
I think if I'm planning to run, people would have known by now because Kogi runs a very, very funny calendar. All our elections are just about a month from now, so I'm not a flag bearer of any party.
Any plans to, maybe in the future?
For now, no. My major aspiration as a person is support this government one step at a time. When we're done with this 8 years, we've supported the government and we've ensured that APC succeeds APC. I think any other thing can come. For me, if you don't know, I'm a very proud lecturer of pharmacy in Ahmadu Jibril University, and I have my records showing there for me. And if you know lecturers or academicians, you know we're very attached to the classrooms.
Of course. So you're going back to the classroom, in essence.
I am still in the classroom. I never left the classroom. I still have PhD or undergraduate students, MSc students I supervise. I have PhD colleagues who rub ideas. And from time to time, I always still peek back to the classroom. I'm just trying to tell you that my eye is not on just one boy. You can serve people from different spheres of life. And if the call comes again, like, hey, come and still serve people. I'll go on my knees and I pray to my Creator to give me guidance. And if there is light in that path that has been newly defined, I'll toe that path. And if there is no light, I'll decline and stay where I am and be thankful for what God has done.
All right. Lastly, before I go, I know some viewers at home will, get my attention if I don't ask you this. What would you say to youths out there who are looking up to you? They want to be like you. They are encouraged by what you do. What will you say to them? What's your secret for success? Just to wrap it all up.
First is I pray the youths out there grow beyond who I am.
Okay.
That's my first prayer. Secondly is moral value as a people tells a lot about how far we go. Parental ethics used to define who we were in Nigeria. I encourage the youths of Nigeria to be law-abiding, obedient to their parents, hardworking, not to be too sharp or eager that I must make it today. They should plan and work smartly on how to make it. Because the sky is big, that so many of us can rise. But we can only rise long if we rise legitimately. So let our youths go to school, let our youths be educated, let our youths be creative, innovative, and entrepreneurship in nature to see how we can thrive. And I'm sure that we get there. My own personal secret of success is born out of love and respect for my mother who just left me October last year.
Oh.
Yes, and ever since then, I have been carrying the burden of me. But I also know that I have a God who is Alpha and Omega to all. So as I said, while we use our moral compass to define who we are, if every mother and father watch over their child well, no child will be a Yahoo boy. Because when you come home with a brand new phone, your mother asks you, where did you get it from? Are you getting me? If every mother insists that her child goes to school, there's a pattern that defines the success line of that child. You must not all work a white-collar job, but the education gives you a background or template to succeed in any spheres of life you find yourself. To the youths that are there, don't give up on your dreams. You will get there and you will make it. That I know for sure. Thank you.
Once again, Honorable, thanks so much for being with us on the program. We hope to have you on frequent editions to talk with you on things pertaining to politics. Once again, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, my friend. It's an honor meeting you.
All right.
Thank you.
And that's the wrap on Political Arena today. We'll see you next time. Keep watching Malachite TV.